Blade 4 behind Blade 1. The smoke is coming on. Get ready for a crossfire break. Pulling around 9 times the force of gravity as they execute the crossfire break. We're now getting ready to see Blade 1 come in from our right hand side and Blade 4 come in from our left hand side. To your right is Blade 1, he's Andy Evans. He's the longest serving member of the Blades aerobatic team. In fact, he was a founding member of the team back in 2006. So Blade 1 on your right, Blade 4 on your left. They're coming down to 100 feet now. They're going to roll before they cross for the next manoeuvre. Again, pulling up at around 6 times the force of gravity into the vertical. Chopping the throttles for silence as they head back towards the beach. Now keep your eyes on the aircraft to the right hand side. This is Blade 4, James McMillan. He is our solo display pilot in our warship display. He's going to perform what we call a tumble now, so pushing the aircraft end over end, using lots of rudder to control the yaw of the aircraft into a little spin, and then pulling around 6G back to 100 feet. Get ready for a bit of sideways flying. This is the Blade slide. Climbing up to about 1,000 feet now, he rolls inverted to pull back down towards the beach. We're going to get another pull up into the vertical at around about 6 or 7G, and now get ready to see the real performance of this extra 300 aircraft. So into the vertical, he stops in the vertical, he'll start rolling the aircraft using the control surfaces, the aileron. So he's using the control surfaces on the wing to roll the aircraft. But as it gets low speed, those ailerons don't work. But notice the aircraft still rotates, opposing the torque of the engine, as he now slides backwards through his smoke in what we call a torque roll. James finishing his first solo routine. Look to your left hand side, here comes Andy Evans, Blade 1, with his smoke on. Blade 4 joining to start rolling around Blade 1 as he performs hesitation rolls. Andy using his ailerons again there to perform those 4-point rolls as Blade 4 rolls around behind him. More about Andy Evans. He was a founding member of the Blades, as I mentioned, back in 2006. But the team was established as the founding part of 2XL Aviation, which is an aviation company whose head office is in Sywell in Northampton. And it was established by a former leader of the Red Arrows and his companion, another former Harrier pilot from the Royal Air Force. Coming in from your front right now in line astern. Andy pulling up at around 4 to 4.5G in line astern. They fly a very tight loop, topping out at around about 1,100 feet above the beach, keeping that G on as they accelerate back down the hill, back to 100 feet. So 2XL was established by Andy Offer, who was a former leader of the Red Arrows. And when he was leading the Red Arrows, he was always asked whether passengers could come flying with the team. And of course, as a military formation, it was very difficult to get a flight in a Red Arrows aircraft. So he saw a bit of a gap in the market and formed the Blades to fly passengers doing close formation aerobatics. And in fact, he then founded the world's only aerobatic airline. We are very proud of the fact we're the world's only aerobatic airline. We can put fare-paying passengers in the front of these aircraft and show them roughly what it's like to be experiencing the Red Arrows close formation aerobatic manoeuvres. So over to our left, just disappearing behind the cloud, James is moving out to the left-hand side. Andy's going to roll upside down as he flies in from the left, and James is going to sit directly beneath him. Get ready now with your cameras for mirror. exactly level in the inverted formation, James flying directly underneath it. This aircraft can actually fly for 4 minutes inverted. But if he did that flying at this speed, he would be over platform by now. So he's just going to roll out and get ready for the next manoeuvre. So I talked about us being the world's only aerobatic airline. We are regulated just like any other airline in the world, and we can put fare-paying passengers in the front of our aircraft. So visit theblades.com if you'd like to come and experience some of these manoeuvres you're seeing at the show today. And I've got a companion with me here, who is Louise, and she's going to tell you how you might actually be able to win a flight with the Blades aerobatic team. Louise?
Good afternoon, Southport. Thank you, Mike. Awesome having you here today, saving me a job of doing the commentary, and you're doing a much better job than I would. So for this year, we've got a new sponsor, and that is GS USA. USA Batteries, #1 selling brand for all types of car vehicles and industrial uses. They are putting together a competition for you and a friend to win an unforgettable experience flying with these guys in close formation. In order to enter the competition, you just need to Google GS USA, win a Blades flight, and then share the post, and 1 or 2 of the winners will find out at the Bournemouth Air Festival on the 4th of September. Good luck and please enter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Louise. And you can find out more about that if you just Google USA Blades competition. That is USA spelled Y-U-A-S-A. You can find out more about it, or have a look at any of the Blades social media channels. We are at the Blades team on Twitter, at Blades Official on Instagram and Facebook. So the Blades just completed the snake there, pulling up into a loop with a twist, and now we're going to get ready to see the incredible roll rate of the Extra 300. This aircraft can roll at 400 degrees a second, and the pilots will now demonstrate to you, coming in from the left-hand side. Get ready for our aileron rolls. So a very fast rolling aircraft, 400 degrees a second to complete an aileron roll, rolling on the longitudinal axis through 360 degrees. Now the ailerons are the control surfaces on the outboard edge of the trailing edge of each wing, and when you operate the control column, so the control stick, if you push it over to the left aileron goes up, the right aileron goes down, and that's how the aircraft rolls rapidly. The eagle-eyed amongst you might spot that underneath the wings are little paddles. They're called spades. And those spades almost act like power steering to give a very crisp response to those aileron controls. They're now pulling up at around 40 in line astern. Now Andy is twisting this towards us, what's known as a quarter clover, stopping at around 1200 feet. Split goes, says Andy, as he goes to the right, James goes to the left. Now keep your eyes on Andy, who's over to the right. He's pitching back towards us, and he told me he's going to show us a very difficult manoeuvre, which is an 8-point roll. So he's going to perform a roll through 360 degrees, but he's going to stop every 1/8 of the way through the turn. So his smoke comes onto the right over the pier, and he's going to show us his 8-point hesitation roll. From the inverted. He's having a lot of fun up there. That is actually my aeroplane he's flying, so he's put me on the ground today to talk to you while he has lots of fun in my aeroplane. Now look out to the front. Here comes number 4 for his second solo performance as he pulls up at around 180 knots, so 200 miles an hour, climbing to around 2,500 feet above us. He's going to kick in loads of rudder to get the aircraft rotating all the way over, and then when he gets to the wingtip, he'll push. He's now pushing negative 3.5 G as he performs a 9-phase spin, dropping towards the beach now. He'll stop that, roll out along the line, and get ready for his next part of his solo performance. James is also a former Red Arrows pilot. All of the Blades pilots, in fact, are former Red Arrows pilots. James is from New Zealand. He's known as McZ. He grew up in New Zealand, but when they discontinued their fast jet fleet, he joined the Royal Air Force, becoming a flying instructor, Harrier pilot, and then joined the Red Arrows in 2012. And he's been with the Blades since 2018. That was a manoeuvre we call the centrifuge. He's now performing a nice slow roll towards the pier. Pulling up to come back towards us, is going to perform some aileron rolls on the 45 down line. Again, the eagle-eyed amongst you might notice that on the trailing edge of each wingtip there are red lines or rods. They are aerobatic wing sights. So they've got almost like a protractor. They show vertical up, vertical down, and 45 degrees. So this is called a cravat. As James spins the aircraft, stops it perfectly towards us, and starts sliding back through its own smoke in another tail slide. Over to your front left now, just appearing from behind the clouds, you'll see Blade 1. Here comes Andy with his smoke on. James is going to pitch up and start rolling around him, and Andy's going to perform what we call a rolling circle, a quarter rolling circle. He starts coming left by a slow roll to the left, and he's going to prescribe 90 degrees of turn whilst performing a slow roll as James rolls around behind him. On the top of the left-hand wing, you'll see a big word which says Aerobytes. Aerobytes are our prime sponsor and have been for 7 years now. Aerobytes develop aviation data monitoring software for over 200 airlines across the world, and we're very proud to have their name emblazoned across our aircraft. So, James finishes his rolls around Blade 1. He's going to join back in formation for the final manoeuvre of the display. I've talked about our prime sponsor, now it's time to talk about our charity partner, the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund. We're very proud to have the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund's heart logo on the front of our aircraft. They are a fantastic charity who support the entire Royal Air Force family, from air cadets to veterans. So in honour of the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund, Andy pulls up at 5G. On comes the smoke as Blades 1 and 4 draw a fabulous heart in the sky over Southport. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Blades Aerobatic team!